Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Cardboard Coach Neil. It's time I want to make another video, and I've been thinking about doing something like this for a little bit of time, focusing on what I have already in my collection, whether that's a player or a type, maybe examples from certain sets that I like. And I figure, what better way to start than with a player, and with, in my opinion, the greatest player who has ever played, and that's Willie Mays. Arguably, he's probably in everyone's top 5, if not top 3. A lot of people have him number 1, as do I. Certainly a 5-tool player. Again, hitting with average, with power, the base running ability, and not just his speed, but the quickness, the smarts, running the bases, and of course the ability to play center field and his arm strength. So, he's to me, he's the best. I wish I would have had a chance to see him play, and I wish I had more cards of his, but you got to do what you got to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I do have for Willie Mays, and it's mostly cards. There's one thing I have on the wall, which is his assigned 16 by 20 photo of his, the famous The Catch back in the Polo Grounds in 1954. But I'm not going to show that. It's just on the wall, and it's not in the basement. So let's turn the camera around, and I'm going to show you what I have. Okay, I got the camera turned around. I'm going to start. There isn't any rhyme or reason as to order. I just kind of put these things, I guess, according to size and whatnot. I may mention a few things along the way that I would like to own. So just, bear with me. And hey, if you can help me out, send me a message if you have something I'm looking for. First item, this is, now this is probably not a type 1 photo, but I believe it's type 2. And this is from 1961, September 11th of 1961. Willie scoring his 1,000th run. On the back, it's got an NEA stamp and some type of marking. Again, this is not a type 1 photo. And if it was, I got it. I got it at a steal. This thing was about $10. I think it's a type 2, but I could be wrong. But it's just a really, really nice image, and it's certainly from the period. But that's what I'll lead off with. Next up, this is so 19. I believe this is 1959. I'm not completely up to date on all the J Publishing items, but I believe this one is 1959. And I'll tell you, these J Publishing, I've talked about some of these before. I think I've shown this one before, but that's something, moving into 2026. And I got about 10, 15, 20 of these things, not of Mays, but of different players. And they're still very, very affordable. And I think they're just super cool. And so that's that. Next up is a 1967 Dexter Press. This is a set. Well, the Hall of Famers I'm actually kind of working on. These obviously you can see these are oversized, but just fantastic color. These were issued by Coca-Cola. This is not the All-Star version. If the All-Star, there are 2 different types, but actually Mays, and don't quote me on this, Mays may be one of the ones that does not have a second write-up. There's another write-up in here if they were an All-Star, I believe. But again, don't quote me on it, but I'm working on, I have a number of players from this series, and I'm missing the mantle. That's probably the most expensive one. But when I say expensive, these are about ex-mint condition. You can find this Mays for, $20, maybe up to $30 in this type of shape. They are very condition sensitive because, again, when these were made in 1967, a lot of people didn't know how to store them. So there's that. You're going to see this image later on. Again, that's a 1967 Dexter Press Willie Mays. This is something that's very, very cool. I believe Sammy Thunder has one of these as well. It was gifted to him. This is an from 1954, an Art Flynn. Let me show the back. I'll lead off that way. Art Flynn Associates, and this was his the Giants PR. So Willie Mays had just gotten back to Major League Baseball, missing most of the 52 and all of the 53 season due to his service for our country. And Art Flynn wanted to, and he was a popular player back then and for the Minneapolis Millers, which I'll talk about in a second as well. But this is an Art Flynn Associates, just a fold out. It's not, there's a crease right down here where it folds in. This just makes a better display appearance, but it's basically saying, hey, Willie is available for television, radio, and guest appearances, and it just goes on to say what they can do. It's just a real nice example. You might recognize this picture from a number of Topps issues, including the 1960 Topps inset photo. So this is a young Willie Mays, which was reused 6 years later and a couple different times by Topps. But that's that. Nice image of Mays on the front. Next item, 1964 Auravision. Talk about unique. I think I mentioned this in one of my shorts. A number of channels have this kind of stuff. I just think it's this kind of stuff. It's just really cool. Think outside the box. These are not expensive. I mean, you can get this particular Mays, which is in really, really good shape. Now, I do not have a record player. Otherwise, I'd play it. But these are pretty cool, and there's a number of players that are involved in this set. This is my only example. 1964 Auravision, Willie Mays on the back. Nice little write-up and tells you how to play the record. And, of course, some information and some stats on the Say Hey Kid himself. So that's a pretty cool thing. This is one of the two rare pieces. I know much more about the second one. This one I know, I'll say very little. Okay, so what you're looking at is a 1965 Come Alive Willie Mays. Now, not a lot is known about this particular set. Let me just it's just a cool card. It's in pretty good shape. So there were 5 different sports figures depicted. It was Mays and Whitey Ford for baseball, Y.A. Tittle for football, and, go figure. Now I forget. I know there were 2 wrestlers, Bruno Sammartino and some other guy. They all had 5 cards each, so 25 total, but all the subjects had the same front image, but on the back, you see Willie in a batting stance and then a follow through. What this set came with, and again, I don't know a lot about it. PSA and SGC do not grade these or just never have. I think it's probably the latter. No one has ever submitted these things. They are tough to find. There's a Willie Mays collector on Net54 that I have spoken with at length, and he agrees that these things are just extremely cool, and he has all of them. So this set, it was like a game, I guess, came with some glasses. Okay, so I guess they were kind of like 3D. You'd pull on the tab, you'd see one, you do it quick, and it looks like he's doing just a little check swing. There are also fielding poses, some catching the ball and stuff like that. But it's I like this kind of stuff. This is just a really cool piece, the 1965 Come Alive Sports Thrills, and that's Willie Mays. Okay, these are kind of some of the mainstream. Again, I'm just going to pull out this is probably my favorite Willie Mays card. I know a lot of people agree. 1954 Topps, just an unbelievable. This to me personifies 1950s baseball. This very card. It's just, there's something about Willie Mays cards that I just really like, and a lot of other guys do as well. 1954 season. I mean, I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but this one has good centering. I looked for an example of these for a while. Good centering, and it doesn't have the print line, which you sometimes see on his arm. And I was going to be particular. These things they're out there. They're easy to find. So pick yourselves a good one and one that you can afford. As you can see, classic 1954 back. If the 1954 Topps had a Mickey Mantle in it, it would probably be the #1 Topps set of the 50s. Just my opinion. I'll put that aside. A set I really like, 1957 Topps. I kind of have gone back and forth. I've owned this card a couple times. 1957 is different. It's, it's obviously the first standard size card that Topps put out, but I guess in the experimentation, they use a couple different inks. This one has a pretty good color. Sometimes you're going to find 57 Topps with more of a brownish tint, and there are others that have more of a greenish bluish tint, and this is kind of one of those. And there is a difference. I mean, if you go on eBay and you look at 57 Topps, you're going to see, especially with the Mickey Mantle, you'll see it a lot with that. But this is a pretty good card for the grade. I've had this card in 7 before. I've had it a couple times in SGC, but this one works. It's a very tough a very tough card to find centered. This one fits the bill, and I do like that card. Love the 57 Topps. Just next one, 1968 Topps game. Again, not a bad looking card. These are readily available and pretty cheap, depending on how you look at it. And these were inserted into 1968 Topps packs. So it's a cool set. Certainly fits into the game card type, collection that I'm working on. So 1968 Topps game, Say Hey Kid. 1966 batting leaders. Leaders cards are actually another rabbit hole that I've considered. Again, I'm kind of getting this all out now so I can look back and see what I'm going to decide to do. But anytime you can get Clemente, Aaron, and Mays on a card, pretty cheap. This thing's pretty centered. This is a great card. Real nice back. 1966 Topps National League batting leaders. All right. One of his more underrated cards, also from his MVP season. This is a 1954 Bowman Willie Mays. I was looking for a couple different things. Mostly the centering, which is pretty tough on this card, but also sometimes on this card, and this is just kind of the collector that I am, some of the cards on the 54 Bowman have a black dot right on his knee. It doesn't bug some people. I wanted to find one that without it, and I did. I like this card. 54 Bowman is kind of an underrated issue. It's chock full of Hall of Famers, including the famous Ted Williams card, which I have never owned that card, by the way. 1954 Bowman Willie Mays. Love these little subsets. This is the Fence Busters. 1958 Topps rival Fence Busters with Willie and the Duke. Get one more in there. It could have been, New York center fielders if you had Mantle in there, which would have been a cool card. But I like these stuff. Again, two great players from the 50s. Duke, had the most home runs in the 50s. Very underrated player, but this is not about Duke Snider. This is about Willie Mays. And this is a great little card. Like having that one. All right. I saw this image before on the 67 Dexter Press. This is a 68. And I submitted this one myself. I have a number of these Dexter Press postcards, but I'm not going to get them graded. There's no need to get them graded at all. But again, good looking image. It's an affordable piece. There are so many things. This one, they say it's a postcard, but it really isn't. I mean, because there's no postal stamp area. It's not really. Yeah, it does. I just wanted to make sure it did say postcard on there. I just don't know why they called them postcards, because they're clearly not. But it's a great issue if you're looking for a Willie Mays kid or other Hall of Famers on the cheap. Let's put that up here. I showed this one recently. This is my most recent pickup. First time I ever owned this card, and it's just, again, a really cool set. Mays is a short print on this thing, so a little bit tougher, but not pricey at all. I mean, it's a good looking image. I think it's much better looking than his. Well, actually, the 64 Topps, I take that back. The 64 Topps Mays is a pretty cool looking card. 1964 Topps Giants, Willie Mays. Two more to show, saving the most rare for last. This is a 1965 McGregor Willie Mays. There are 10 cards in this set. I have 3, all the Hall of Famers. I got Mays, I got Clemente, and I got Tony Oliva. Pete Rose is in the set, not a Hall of Famer, but I should say in the set with an asterisk. He was kind of added. It's a pricey card. Howard has one, and he knows I want it. Maybe one day, who knows? But this is just a real nice card, MVP season. Same image as the 1960 McGregor, but just a much smaller. This is more of a postcard size. These are blank back. But that's the 1965 McGregor Willie Mays. And the last one, I showed this, I think, actually on my very first video. And this is the 1953 to 1955 Howard photo Willie Mays postcard with a 7-Up ad on the back. I saw this card probably about 10 years ago and was blown away just because I had never seen it before. And just look at that. I mean, I just love that thing. It's got a facsimile autograph that you maybe not be able to see on here. Where is it? It's kind of right in here. It's a facsimile, but on the back, it's the postcard. This is compliments of the 7-Up Bottling Company of Minneapolis. So my theory on this, because there isn't a lot of information on it. Again, I talked to a gentleman on 54 who knows about these things. My thought, and he agreed, is that Mays was a fan favorite in Minneapolis. He played for the Minneapolis Millers before coming over to the Giants, and I just believe the Howard Photo Company probably got an order from the 7-Up bottlers to hand these things out. I don't know if they ever did. I don't know what the purpose was, because these things, they're kind of tough to find. There is one on eBay right now. It's been up. I know the seller. I guess it's a fair price. You really can't price these things, but I've seen raw cards of the Howard photo. Ever since I found out about it, I do have it as a saved search, and I've seen raw ones come up, and I'm talking beat up, that would grade authentic, maybe a 1, and like a noticeably bad, great image, but I've seen them chewed up, and they've sold for $600, $700, $800 in recent years. This one is a PSA 4. I had a PSA 5. I worked out a deal. There was a reason the gentleman wanted my 5. It was part of a run. He had the other one. So he agreed to swap his 4 for my 5, and he threw in a little something just to make it worthwhile. But that's the 1953 to 55 Howard photo Willie Mays with the 7-Up ad. I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a lot of cards I wouldn't mind getting, and I guess I said I was going to talk about those before or as I was going. I kind of forgot. But looking for a Call Bulletin Willie Mays, if anyone has one. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I appreciate those who did. And you guys take care.